What up, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here, and I'm joined by Dodgers broadcaster, Mr. Tim Neverett. Tim, thanks for the time.
Oh, no problem at all. It's fun out here at spring training, huh?
It is. We just saw Kerr throw that bullpen. What'd you think of that?
You know, I thought he had some good snap on his fastball today. Curveball looked good. Slider, he seemed to throw all his pitches. I know he's still doing his post-mortem of the bullpen with Mark Pryor and Will Smith. Will Smith caught his bullpen. I think it's cool that you can come out here and you can watch a future Hall of Famer throw a bullpen session during spring training and just see how he goes about his craft, how he goes about his work.
Yeah, and you look at this rotation. They lose Tyler Anderson. They add Noah Syndergaard. Just what's your overall outlook of this rotation?
Well, we saw Syndergaard the other day for about an inning and 2/3. Like what I see so far. I thought he was pretty effective. He was pretty efficient. And that's all you can really ask about guys. It's hard to get a gauge. Pitchers are usually ahead of the hitters anyway at this point in spring training. So sometimes the starting pitchers, a guy like Julio Urias, who's already ramped up for the WBC, you know, he's going to look like he's way ahead, right? But I don't know. I think I think the rotation's going to be pretty good. I think it's deep. Getting Dustin May back is going to help. You know, having a healthy Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, and then, you know, who knows what's going to happen during the season as you get, you know, later in the season with Walker Buehler coming back at some point. We don't know when. But I think the rotation looks pretty good. It's pretty deep.
Yeah, and if you look at the other side, some of the additions, you got Miguel Rojas. He's going to be stepping into a bigger role. Do you think you can fill that void? Gavin Luck's supposed to be a big year. He, of course, goes down with that injury. What are your thoughts on them adding Miguel Rojas and the role he has for this team now?
Well, it was a good add, first and foremost, and then it becomes a more important add right now. And I think you have to give Miguel a lot of credit for pulling out of the WBC, realizing that his situation with the Dodgers is his most important situation. Everybody wants an opportunity to represent their country for sure, right? I mean, you obviously do. But he made a sacrifice, and the team really noticed it, and they appreciate it. So he's going to come out here and work on being an everyday player at short. You know, Chris Taylor's going to play some short too. But you know, I like the addition of Miguel Rojas. I mean, yeah, is he a defense first guy? Yeah, but he had a decent year with the bat last year, and so far in spring he's been swinging a good bat.
Yeah, for someone who was the broadcaster for the Red Sox and you're now with the Dodgers, they added JD Martinez this offseason. What can Dodger fans expect from JD?
Here's what I like about JD, and this will be your tell about when he's going well. When he drives the ball to right center field, he's got his swing on. He likes to, what he calls, compress his swing, so it's got to be kind of a tight swing. But he can be a real value driving in runs. He's going to have a good slugging percentage, especially against lefties. He crushes lefties. And I think that he's going to be a great addition. But if he's starting to hit those gap doubles to right center, then he's seeing the ball well.
Yeah, and of course, you know this team, 111 wins last year. They win one game in the postseason. What do you think is the biggest key for this year's team to really go deeper into the postseason and win that World Series this year?
Well, I don't think they could have done any better in the regular season. I mean, they really couldn't have. So, you know, I think a lot of us are still left scratching our heads after the postseason last year. You don't want to, but yeah, you tip your cap to the Padres. They played well. The Dodgers didn't, and they didn't hit in key situations. They didn't pitch as well as they could have. It just was an anomaly, maybe.
Yeah.
But I just think more consistency as you make that move to the postseason. I also think teams that are in a pennant race where it's tight seem to play better in the postseason going in. There was really no division race. I mean, they won by 20-plus games. So at the end of the season, you're just playing games to play games, and that's not an excuse. But I think you'd rather have meaningful games and games with intensity as you get deeper into September.
Yeah, got to get hot at the right time, and sometimes baseball just going to baseball. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the new rules, the pitch clock. The game is really changing this year. Players have talked a lot about it, but I want to ask you as a broadcaster, are there any adjustments that you need to make to adjust to the new rules?
Absolutely. We have found out quick. I expected some adjustments, but the at-bats are quicker. The game comes to you a little quicker. It's not just the clock and how it's moving in the game time. It's like, all right, he's on the mound, he's throwing. And with what we're doing right now in spring training, it's different because we're doing both radio and TV for the most part. So what you have to keep in mind your radio audience, and you have to be a little more descriptive than you'd normally be on TV. So it leaves for, you know, less time for stories at this point in time. And even the guys in the TV truck who are super talented are finding out that they can't get all the, you know, the longer replays and more stat pages and things in because next thing you know, there's another pitch being thrown. So We've had to make adjustments. We're still going to make adjustments. We have a couple of TV-only games coming up, so we're going to do some things a little bit different. We'll probably get some more stuff in on those. And then when we split it up for the regular season, TV-only, radio-only, I think it'll be, probably back to more normal. But it's just going to take some guys who haven't done this yet a little time to adjust. But I like it. I like the pitch clock. I do.
Yeah, and then last question for you, Tim. As just a fan of the sport, do you think that baseball needed this at this point, just from a television standpoint, just from a fan's perspective, to really try to appeal to a broader audience? Do you think the game needed it?
I do. I think they needed to speed it up. And it's not like, hey, let's go to the ballpark and hurry up and leave. That's not the point. The point is that back in the 80s and 70s, games were played, maybe even in the early 90s, games were played in the times we're seeing now. But they have just slowed up with, longer time between innings, more pitching changes, in game than we've ever had in the past, because guys used to be able to pitch longer. They were allowed to pitch longer in games. The strategy was different, I think, in terms of handling pitchers. So I do think that this is necessary. I like what I've seen so far. I think the fans will like it. I don't think that many of them, when they go to several games, that they'll start to notice it after a while. The bigger bases, I guarantee you, they're not going to even notice. I don't even notice it now after seeing it for a few games. I saw it last year in the minor leagues over in Vegas. I saw a couple games over there, and I was like, well, the bases look bigger, but I didn't really notice anything different about it. Saw the pitch clock, and after a couple of innings, it was just like baseball. So the thing that I do like is the shift restriction, because it reminds me more of old baseball in the way that it used to be. And I think it's going to be way better for the left-handed hitters.
Yeah, and the fans are loving it. I think it's going to make for a better product. But the players are grinding spring training, so are the broadcasters. Mr. Tim Neverett, thank you so much, Dodgers play-by-play broadcaster. Thanks for the time, Tim.
Anytime.
Cool. All right, thanks, Tim.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
Well, thank you.